News, life, and beyond. New podcast, it's time you tap into it. Real life interviews, focus on your businesses. No propaganda or gimmicks, just two dawns. Steve J and Adam A. News, life, and beyond. News, life, and beyond. News, life, and beyond. News, life, and beyond.
And now time for the show. Thanks for coming and being a part of News Life and Beyond, where we bring you real life, real people,
teaching
and
my
real
kids to play
discussions.
spoons. There was I don't know if you know this or not. I'm gonna jump back for a second, but my father and I won the Foxwoods Talent Show in 2000 playing the spoons.
I was gonna get into the spoons after we was doing the jail stuff. That's why I never brought them up. And I was just
All
gonna say we're gonna go back a little bit because
All right, so
do
all
some
right.
crazy shit that people probably don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll get to them.
So we'll get back into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I literally felt like my life was over. You know, here I was on the beginning of my career with the spoons. I had already done a bunch of TV shows. We won the talent show at Foxwoods. We were on the news. You know, my career was over. I had dreams. Me and my dad were going to put out disc CDs of us teaching people to play the spoons and make, multitudes of money. And, I lost out on that. I lost out on everything. At that point, I was empty, bro. I didn't know what to think. I was literally, to me, it was all like a big nightmare that I was hoping to wake up from. I had never been in this kind of trouble in my life. I've never been.
Were your
I've been
kids at court with you through all this, or just Janine?
No, my whole family was there.
What did they feel when they heard 22 fucking years?
Bro, I think all of my family was in shock. Everybody felt like I got railroaded big time. In fact, once I got in Corrigan,
just
there
me
was people,
saying that shit's crazy, yo.
Yeah. Once I got into Corrigan, dude, there was people there that had followed my case that were like, dude, you got railroaded. You got fucked.
Yo, I didn't even know you got were sentenced to that much time, bro. This whole time I've known you. I thought it was 7 years or some shit like that.
No, I served 8.5.
Yeah, God, bro.
Before I got out. So, bro, prison wasn't no walk in the park for me. I fought, bro. I fought a lot.
All right, so Leo gets taken from Norwich Courthouse. He goes to Corrigan, right?
Go to Corrigan.
Corrigan. What's your first night at Corrigan like?
Wow. So this is
kick it off, bro.
So I'm in the AP room, and
now having the charges that you have, do they hate? Now it's not like molesting. Well, she was young, so do people hate you?
I think a lot of people that knew me or knew of me when I got there followed my case, so they already knew what was going on. I did have to fight a few times over that.
Yeah.
And then believe it or not, dude, I earned a lot of respect from fighting people over it, because once I won my appeal and all that shit and my case got overturned, I had a lot of people looking up to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So first night in Corrigan.
Huh?
First night in Corrigan.
So my first night in Corrigan, I'm in the AP room and I'm sitting down at a table full of white guys.
What's AP?
Where they bring you in, when they first bring you in, and you or like assessment, not assessment.
Yeah, just so people understand what that is.
So it's where they bring you in and they take your property. You go through the shower. It's like checking you in, booking you in.
Grab your balls and cough, check your butthole and all that.
Process. They make you take the lice shampoo and rub your body all over with it, and take the cold shower at Corrigan. It sucks, dude. The AP room sucks.
Degrading, huh?
Huh?
I said degrading.
Yeah. It is degrading. It's very degrading. But you know, prison ain't supposed to be fun for nobody, you know.
No.
But so my first night in, I wound up getting in a fight right off the rip. I had a guy that was on the telephone that was sitting at the table with us. He was a little dude. And this other guy came in, this so-called gangster from the street from New London came in and rolled up on the kid, took the phone out of his hand and hung up on him and started talking to somebody. So I made it. I don't know why I did. I think I was just trying to, like, you know, make a statement when I got there right away. But I went up on homeboy, started beating the shit out of him at the phone. So I got taken to SEG my first night. In fact, I wound up getting progressed in after I went to SEG. So they had to pull me out, bring me back through to get me through all the shower and stuff. The whole room was full, dude. The intake was full. So it was a pretty good fight, though, dude. I whooped his ass, whooped the shit out of him.
So how long were you going to SEG for?
So I went into SEG for about a week. And then I copped out to the fight. Me and the other guy copped out to it. He didn't, I mean, he tried to say I started it, which I did. But he wasn't pressing charges, and neither was I.
I mean, 22 years, man. How much more trouble can you be in? You know what I'm saying?
At that point, I didn't give a damn anymore, Adam.
Right,
you know what I mean? I thought my life was over, and it was time to, you know, try to, you know, man up.
Lay it up.
So, I got out of SEG, and I went into, I believe it was APOD. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm not, you know, it was so long ago to remember what pod. It was either A or C. But I went in, it was a pretty cool, you know, area. I was with this dude. They got me hooked up with tattooing right away. So I was able to make some money tattooing on people. But my first night in there scared the shit out of me. Because I was in the cell, and me and my bunkie, me and my cellmate were playing cards or dominoes. And I started hearing somebody screaming to bloody murder, bro. Like, you could hear him. Like, I'm looking at my cellie like, the fuck is that? So, dude, we all get up and go, you know, Corrigan has the little dinky square windows.
Yeah.
On the cells, you know what I mean? Like, well, I think Corrigan, Gardner, all of them have little, you know, unless you get into the gallows, which I don't even know if they have the gallows anymore in Cheshire. But they got, you know, that little square window. So my celly looks out there, and he looks up on the top tier, and he goes, "Oh shit, Boatwright got him another one." I said, "What?" He said, "Boatwright up there got him another one." I said, "What the hell is that?" He said, "Boatwright. He's an inmate up there." So, dude, I look up there, and this kid's face is pressed up against that glass, bro. And he's screaming bloody murder. The COs are running up there, and they're like, "Boatwright, get off of him," you know? So, dude, they open the door, and this dude's pants are all the way down around his ankles. He's bleeding out of his ass, dude. He was getting raped. And this dude that come out of the cell was black and about 7 foot tall, bro.
Yeah.
And he was huge. I mean, he was a big son bitch. So by the end of my bid, dude. So that night, let me. I don't want to jump too far ahead. That night, we come out for rec after they call the code, get him out of there. We come out for rec. I get on the phone with my family, and I'm like, "Dude, y'all got to get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
This place is crazy. Somebody just got raped tonight right in front of me." You know, so, dude, I didn't even realize how much pressure I must have put on my mom. You know, here I am in my early 20s, first time ever going to prison. And I'm on the phone with them the first night in prison going, "They're raping people up in here. Get me out of here." You know?
Yo, it's crazy. Your first time going to prison, you doing 7 years. 20.
You know what I mean? My parents must have been freaking the hell out there. I was doing 22 at that time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So my lawyer at trial put in for an appeal. He had no choice. He had to. I got a good appeal attorney. I got Douglas Nash. And after about a year and a half of being in there, I got introduced to Douglas Nash. And Quinnipiac has a law place up there where they study law. And he was a teacher, and he was teaching these kids to do law. And he asked me if he could get his students involved. And I'm like, dude, get whoever involved. I want out of here.
Yeah.
They gave me 22 years for a crime I didn't even commit. I want out of here. So this dude went right to work, and he came up with a shit ton of prosecutorial misconduct, and a lot of misconduct on my attorney's side. He found reasons to, reasons for an appeal just for the way the judge charged the jury. So we put the appeal in, and we went to the state. The state actually denied my appeal right off the rip. Denied my appeal.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like they didn't even look at it. And Nash had told me before we went to court, he said that they usually do that. They don't ever overturn shit. The state doesn't. They wait and let the Superior Court do it. So it went to the Superior Court, and by the time it got to the Superior Court, I had been in for 5 years. Dude, during that time, I was stabbed in my chest while I was asleep. I lost my father. I lost my grandmother. I lost my wife of 13 years. Janine divorced me after 6 months of being locked up. Dude, like my whole life fell apart. You know what I mean? I can remember at one point I was in Cheshire. Do you ever know the guy that threw his old lady in a wood chipper?
Yeah.
You heard that story, the Connecticut style divorce? He was my cellie, Richard Kraft. That's his name, Richard Kraft. He was my cellie. But I was in the cell with him, and
he might have been in there with my boy then, Peter DeAndre. He was in there with him.
What's his name?
Peter DeAndre. He was in there probably for auto.
That last name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, they're from Norwich area.
Did he have any? Did he have a nickname or anything he went by?
Nah, no. He probably he was in there for like grand like robberies and shit like that.
Yeah. So, dude, I had won my appeal, and I had I'll never forget. I was in my cell praying, dude, and I had a cellie that was he was a Jewish kid, and he came back and he said, "Man, he goes, why do you have, why are you always praying for this appeal, bro?" He goes, "The state of Connecticut doesn't give anybody appeal. You're never going to win that appeal. This is what the dude's telling me, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I got hope. I got a God that I believe in." He goes, "Yeah, your God's the wrong God. I mean, he was my boy, but he was kind of an asshole. You know what I mean?" So he's like, you're never gonna win your appeal." So it's funny because like right after he got done telling me that, the counselor walks up to my door and says, "Hey, Rich Roboto, get your clothes on. You got to come down. You having a phone call from your lawyer. You just won your appeal." So, dude, my cellie's face, like I turned around, looked at my cellie, dude. This motherfucker's face was like, like that. Here I've been locked up with him for years, and now it's like, damn, dude, I've been telling this dude this whole time they don't give an appeal out, and he just won his.
So, what was it like losing your dad while you was locked up in there? Because you didn't get to go to the wake or the funeral or nothing like that. What did that make you like? How did you feel? Like, I mean,
so one of the things that I hated about all that, well, first and foremost, my father was my best friend. Me and my father were close. I'm Leo Jr. Leo Senior died, and it broke my heart, dude. Um, the only thing I prayed for while I was in prison was for God to give me one more chance to play the spoons with my dad again.
Yeah.
I just want to go fishing with him one more time, and I want to play the spoons with him one more time. I knew he was sick, bro. He had cirrhosis of the liver and he was dying.
Okay.
What killed me, I found out I had the same exact blood type as him. And I had already won my appeal, and I was coming up to the parole board. And I was asking for Connecticut to release me early so that I could donate a piece of my liver to my father to give him a liver transplant to help him.
Yeah.
They told me that they would let me do it if he came to Connecticut. But my dad was so sick already, it was too late. They couldn't, he couldn't come up. So it was a thing where they either needed to release me to help him or at least let me fly down to help him. But they wouldn't do it. So I wound up losing my father. So that was pretty bad. That was actually the one thing that I think I carried with me even after prison for the longest time until my son was born. Was the death of my father. I just couldn't get over it. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand why I went through everything I went through. And I have a faith and a belief in a God. And I just thought, why would my God let me go through this? You knew I
Were
was.
you mad at yourself?
I was mad at God for a long time, to be honest with you. I was.
Bro, that's deep.
Let me be real with you. I was mad at God because I believed in him and he knew I was innocent. You know what I mean? That's what I was upset about. But once I started to realize that I was never really innocent for anything in my life, you know what I mean? Like I had done enough dirt in my life that I deserved to go to prison for a lot longer than 8.5 years. And
Ever look at it this way, that God maybe put you in jail because he knew you were gonna end up killing yourself? Maybe.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that was one of the things I was going to say.
Yeah.
When we pray about things, bro, we want, as human beings, we want our shit answered now. We want answers today. God answers prayers, but he does it in his time for a reason because he does it when we're ready for shit.
Yeah.
Had I gotten out of prison a day sooner than the day that I did, I would not have been able to handle my dad's death. I probably would have went back to using drugs. I probably would have went off the deep end and been dead by now, to be honest with you. So when I look back at it, to be honest, I was angry with God. But when I learned that it was really all my own doings in the first place, number one, had I not been selling drugs, I'd have never been in that position. And that's the bottom line. Let's stop right there. I don't even need to go further in detail. But had I never been selling drugs, that would have never even happened to me in my life. You know what I mean? So I can't blame nobody else, not even the justice system for that. It was me. Leo did that bullshit. So I got to own my own shit.
Yeah.
So I started taking credit and I started doing things to change me while I was in there. I took, I did the tier 1 through 4 program.
Before you get into that, I want to ask you one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How and why did you get stabbed? I didn't even get to ask you that after you.
Yeah, I was in Gardner, so I tried to jump off the top tier in Cheshire, and
why?
I had a sheet because I wanted to kill myself. I was done. It was right after my dad died. My wife had just divorced me. Janine divorced me. And then, just the shit that I was losing on the outside.
So she left you while you were in prison?
Yeah, Janine divorced me once I went to prison.
Damn, so
I was in prison.
She didn't stand by you?
No.
Wow.
I mean, dude, they gave me 2 years.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't expect her to.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, she deserves so much better than me in the first place that I couldn't even hold it against her.
Yeah.
I hated it that she didn't stand by me because we were kids that grew up together, and she had my babies. but I couldn't hold it against her because she did what she had to do to make herself better.
Yeah.
And she did. Janine's done a lot better for herself, and I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
So
you try to jump off. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. Go ahead.
After losing her, my grandmother passed after Janine divorced me. And then after my father died, I had enough. So I tied a sheet around my neck one night and I jumped off the top tier. The sheet ripped. I fell down, cracked my head open. And I was they wound up putting me in the infirmary and had me all messed up on Thorazine and Seroquel and all kinds of other shit for a couple of weeks. Dude, I literally lost track of time that day.
Yeah.
And I think at that time I had been down for like maybe 3 to 5 years. I don't remember, around that time. I went to Garner, and at that time Garner was being turned into a mental health facility. And because I had jumped off the top tier, they put me in Garner. So they had this dude in the cell with me that was doing 2 years, bro, and I had a 22-year sentence. So this dude's in the cell with me, and every day, dude, I'd come down to use the bathroom, and there was piss all over the seat. And dude, you know, when you're in prison, bro, you know, that's our home. That's where we got to live. So we clean ourselves. And every day I clean the toilet. When I pee, I clean the seat. So when homeboy and I came back from chow one day, I rolled up on him, and I did it in a respectful way. I was like, listen, my man, can I have a talk with you? We both got to live in here. Every day I've been cleaning up your piss so that I can sit down and take a shit. You don't never have to do that. I clean up after myself. You know, I said, we both got to live in here. We're both grown men. Clean up after yourself, bro. Don't make me clean up after you. Because if we got to keep doing this, then we're going to have to bang out. And he was acceptable. He was like, yeah, man, you're right. My bad. My bad, bro. I'm fresh off the street, you know, and I get it. You know, I got you. You're fresh off the street. I ain't mad at you, bro. But just clean up after yourself. So he was good. I mean, me and him played cards that night, all that. So that night I jumped up. I was on the top bunk. I jumped up in my bunk, and I was watching my TV, and I had my headphones on, and I fell asleep like this. I had my hands up like this. And, dude, it felt like somebody shot me in the chest. Just shot me. Like I got hit right here. Like right underneath my rib cage right here. And as soon as I got hit, I lost my breath immediately. I couldn't breathe. It was just like, you know, like the wind got out of me. And then I had realized that I had just got stabbed by this dude. So, you know, I jumped down off the top bunk, and him and I are banging out. Eventually I grabbed his TV off of his bunk and started hitting him with his TV and banging him up. The COs get in there. We're banging around the cell. COs get in there. They start spraying the whole cell with mace. They get us out of there. And dude, originally they were trying to charge me with attempted murder on this dude.
Damn.
Because I was hitting him with the TV. And the only thing that saved me from getting charged on that was when they pulled me out, I still had the steel sticking out of my chest, bro. So, and that was all on video. So I was able to beat that.
Man.
For self-defense. But yeah, that was when I got stabbed. And then, dude, I can't, like, there's so many things I went through in prison, bro.
Lose life and beyond. 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 Won't you tell a friend? Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Calls in there. She's like, yo. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I said, what happened? I don't even remember what the fuck happened.
Tell a friend to tell that other friend. Spread it around till everybody tell their other friend's friend. From which episode is on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, word of mouth.
You are now tuning in to the finest podcast on the airwaves. So check it out.
It took the agile out, but it wasn't like the high.
That's the whole video.
Yeah, there's a certain high that I need to get to, that I need to stay at.
Right.
Like when I used to wake up in the morning, No lie, I'll do 5 perks right off the rip. I'll sniff 2, pound a 20-ounce Red Bull, smoke a cigarette, sniff another one, pop one. By the time I get up, I'd only do dope. After when I first did my first bag, I didn't really like it, but the taste was good, so I didn't really mess with it like that. I ended up going to jail and coming home. I didn't mess with it. I was still doing the perks. Then I was doing the fake perks. That's what got me with the fentanyl. So I'm getting these perks, I'm like, damn, these shits are powerful. Like, knocking me for a loop. I want them, so.
Tell that other friend. Spread it around till everybody tell their other friend's friend.
Literally be homeless.
Man,
So
that sucks. And you wonder why a lot of people start selling drugs, and you know, that's why people make good money. You know, there's always gonna be a crackhead. Always do what you can.
that's why I go by Jahu, because I'm trying to keep his namesake alive. You know what I mean? I want to make something out of it, and then when people ask, like, yo, like, where's that name come from? It's like, well, I got it from my dad.
Yeah.
Tagged it on a wall one day, and it was just like, oh, okay, that's your name now. Like,
Okay.
it was when I first heard that story too. I was like, what the fuck? There's like no special meaning. He just tagged it one day out of like.
That's on the airwaves. So check it out.
Well, you was thinking future.
Oh man, I was thinking we was top charting.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then we lost our drummer too. And so then I had you know, because he was also at the same age. We're 20, they're 40, they're double our age, and we were killing shit, dude. And then we had such a big list of shows that we packed up 2, 3, 4, 5 whole years. Honey, I can't come home right now. She's like, you need to get here right now. Yo, it was bananas. We was at 50. That's another story.
Yeah.
That I did with my rap homies, because I was rapping before I was doing the band stuff.
Adam A, Steve J, let's go. News, life, and beyond. They wanna know I'm the king, how far I come. They wanna know how I get bread, stack these funds. It's a hard not life with an injury. Yeah, my heart on ice, that's an issue. News, life, and beyond. Yeah, we been new. I don't trust these weird dudes.
Oh man, how'd you like working with Pooh Bear?
It's good. I mean, I haven't really. I'm waiting to see what's going on with this mixtape.
Yeah,
He's supposed to. Yeah, dude.
You know, for some reason, you know what I mean? It's some people just get lucky. I don't know what it is.
Consistency is key.
It's not.
You know, like.
Don't ever think it'll be that moment. You know what I mean? Look at the Hawk Tour girl.
Hey Boogie's my favorite, but I like real stories, real things I can hear.
News, life, and beyond. Won't you tell a friend? Tell a friend.
Nobody could tell me they wasn't bumping that shit.
We all want to do the same thing.
We all wish we could. Man, shut your ass up. Said I hate it. That is one of the all-time greatest albums of hip hop. Despise, All Eyes on Me, Love Pop, B.I.P. But Get Rich or Die Trying, Life After Death. I point to him because he's a Brooklyn nigga.
I've never been a Tupac fan though. Maybe it's because I'm East Coast.
You might be, because I was a hard body.
No, I mean, I thought
fan,
it was okay, but I was never.
I'd rather listen to.
I was never banging it in my car.
I'd rather listen to.
Listen, whatever happened, you know.
There's a couple songs I thought was cool. But
No, that whole album from beginning to end.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad.
No. I feel you. And it's like I said, me.
Yo, we got them shirts too. You guys want to buy a shirt? Hit up me and Stevie J. Stevie or the real Stevie J. And you know, we can get you a shirt out, a News, Life, and Beyond shirt. Steve, put them up in the post. Is that right if I talk?
Yeah. I fucking love him. No, go ahead. I love this nigga.
That's Ciroc got y'all hugging. Aww. We didn't even drink Ciroc yet.
But with the tasting, you taste the flavor. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell that other friend. Spread it around till everybody tell their other friend's friend. News, life, and beyond. beyond. Tell a friend which episode is on. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, word of mouth, get the freaking message out. Steve J, Adam A, taking it to the tip top. News, life, and beyond, representing hip-hop, reggaeton, dancehall, Afro beats, real life discussions on our podcast. Let's bring it back.
News, life, and beyond. Won't you tell a friend? Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell that other friend. Spread it around till everybody tell their other friend's friend.
News, life, and beyond, beyond, beyond.